Hey peeps, Tyler here with The Deep by Rivers Solomon book review. I read this in January of 2020 for I read it because I wanted to, but I also used it for the Cancelathon wrap up for the forced diversity prompt because it is by a black non-binary author with a all black cast with some queer characters and some disability in there as well. It is a hard-hitting, diverse adult fantasy with merfolk. And as I say, it's not even long. You have an awful fact. Even though this is fiction, it is based on when slaves were on slave ships and they got pregnant and were thrown overboard. I don't know a whole lot about it, but they were thrown overboard, and it's based on that, where it's what if the babies from the pregnant women that were thrown overboard survived and became mermaids, and that is what this is based on. The story hit me hard from the very beginning. I was so angry at the Wajinru, which is the mermaids, for putting the burden of their entire history all on Yedu's shoulders, which I should probably explain. Because of their traumatic history, they figured a way to deal with it by putting all the history into one person. One person, or mermaid, would remember their entire history. And once a year, they would tell the history to everybody else who would eventually forget it. And it's awful. Yedu gets that at 14. She becomes the historian because it's passed to other people. And it was passed to her because she's incredibly sensitive. Sorry about that. And it was passed to her because she's very sensitive. And it's hell for her. I felt so bad for her. She is all alone in so much pain. Pain that they should have been sharing together rather than dumping it all on Yedu. And it was killing her. Literally. And for so long they couldn't see it because they couldn't remember. Because they refused to. And I understand it was horrendous, but they were killing her. Instead of sharing it all and being able to deal with it in a much more healthy manner, which obviously they do figure out. I don't even think that's a spoiler, that's kind of obvious. But as the story progressed, though, I understood why they did it. I felt so much for Yedu, as I stated. At times, I related to certain things from being disabled, neurodivergent, and a rather sensitive INFP. I believe I've heard the author is also autistic, and while it's never stated that Yedu is, it read to me like she is. So I ended up, even though I'm not autistic, I am neurodivergent in other ways, and I found things to relate to in that, as well as being very sensitive. I just wanted to hug Yedu and scream at the rest of the Wajinru that they were killing her, and I didn't even notice. The writing flowed and sucked me in. It may be short, but it packs a powerful punch, and has so much weaved within it. I can't believe it's short. No sentence felt wasted. Everything was important. It is a complex story with several layers, but I was never confused by it. Though I think I might have been if I had read it too fast, rather than taking my time with it as I did. I read it in 2 days, And this is less than 200 pages, so I could have sped through it in one day, but I didn't want to do that. It has themes of being oneself, of being a part of a group and having a group history, of kinship, trauma, climate change. I'm sure there's even stuff that I missed. It has powerful messages wrapped in a fantasy story with merfolk. I loved learning about the Wajinru and how they worked. I loved the arc the story went on, as well as Yeru's character arc. I may have been angry for much of the story, but it ends on hope. And so beautifully, the ending had me sobbing. It moved me and it made me think. I had to put it down sometimes to really digest it, as well as calm myself down because I was that angry. I had to put the book down to calm myself down. I enjoyed the hint of romance. I would gladly read more from this world and the characters. Also, if you picked this book up, please read the afterwards to see how this book came to be. It's inspired by a song called Clipped. Quotes, forgetting was not the same as healing. That mattered. Who each of them was mattered as much as who all of them were together. So I really enjoyed this. I gave it 5 stars. I'll put a link to my review on my blog down below. Yes. I loved it. Favorite. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to. Let me know if you've read the book, and if so, what were your thoughts, or if you want to read it. Hit the bell if you want to be notified of when I post. And all my social media is in the description, and have a nice day.